Now we will take the second read of the excerpt Jazz. Jazz is written by Toni Morrison about Joe and Violet, who has taken the train to go to the new city. Now, what are we asked for in the second read? In the second read, we want to determine the theme. How can we determine the theme? Determine the theme by the academic vocabulary you took at the beginning of the chapter, by a symbol, figurative language, the tone, the imagery again. So what are we going to do now? We will get to, you will reread the excerpt silently, and if we were at the class you should have read it in groups, but now you will read it silently. You will give me symbols, you will give me imagery. Imagery is descriptive. Symbol is like dove resembles peas, as we said it before. Number 2, imagery, descriptive and figurative language like similes, metaphor, hyperbole. Tone, and we said what is tone? The perspective or the attitude of the author or reader?
It's of the author.
Yes, tone is from the author.
And the mood is from the reader.
Yes. Now you are 20. There are 14 absent. Okay. Then we will discuss. But before we discuss, I want to show you a video.
في مجالات شتى بدءا من الرياضيات والطب.
We often hear that studying literature involves finding a deeper meaning to a text. When writing about literary works, we're expected to mentally dive below the surface in order to come back up with big ideas. But you may find yourself looking at the flat page of a book, wondering how deep it can really go. How do we reach those ideas that turn into great essays? Well, there are 2 crucial thinking steps that can lead us in the right direction: practicing insight and acknowledging complexity. Insight is the ability to arrive at an intuitive understanding of a big idea using only small clues to get there. If you're practicing insight, you'll be able to use observations about character behavior to figure out their true emotions and motivations. Pay attention to little things because they add up to what is really meaningful. For example, if you consider a character like Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice, who openly declares his dislike for Miss Lizzie Bennet, you might at first assume he's just a mean guy. But using your powers of insight, you're noticing other smaller things, how Darcy's eyes linger on Lizzie's face and how he seems all flustered when she's around. Add to the mix your knowledge that Mr. Darcy is in a much higher social class than Lizzie, and your sense of insight should be telling you that there's something more here. In this case, it will tell you that Darcy's surface behavior is in conflict with his true feelings of attraction, because the difference in wealth between himself and Lizzie makes him feel that it'll never work. Thinking about all those small clues gives us insight about some of the big abstract ideas within the novel that we can approach in an essay. Appearances versus reality, the power of wealth and social stratification, and the unpredictable nature of love and attraction. Look at that, deeper meaning. The second step to a sophisticated analysis is acknowledging complexity. Let's face it, in both life and literature, situations are complicated due to social forces like relationships, moral codes, personal desires, and power structures. This means that there are, at any given time, multiple factors that shape what is true. In order to acknowledge complexity in your writing, refrain from making broad generalizations about a text or establishing quick, simple judgments about a character. Explore each facet of your subject carefully, and make sure to consider multiple influences on events. Explain the tension of multiple forces that create the story. For example, a basic analysis of Toni Morrison's Beloved, where the protagonist has killed her own child rather than allow her to grow up in slavery, might sound like this. Setha murdered her own daughter. This act was wrong and causes the ghost of the child to haunt her throughout the novel. These observations are simplistic. They don't acknowledge all the different forces that contribute to what the character has done. Try something like this instead. A culture of slavery disturbs the ability to determine what is morally right. Setha's past experiences with violence reinforce the fear she has for her child's fate and transform the murder into a protective act. As the novel progresses, Setha is haunted both by the angry spirit of her daughter and by the memories of everything else slavery took from her. Here, we see those influential forces at work, and we've shown off our ability to understand the complicated nature of the human experience, which again allows us to access those big ideas that reveal the deeper meaning of a story. Ideas in this case, like the parameters of maternal instinct, the consequences of injustice, and the question of whether or not ethics can even exist in a corrupted moral system. It's impossible to sit down and write an amazing essay about literature without first thinking about it. Before you hit the keys, go back to the text and fish out the small moments, the complicated moments in the story. Line them up in your mind, practice insight, acknowledge complexity, arrive at some big ideas. Before you know it, the deeper meaning will be close at hand.
So now what are you going to do? Now you are going to fish. You are going to fish for the deeper meaning. Fish for the deeper meaning. Go and search for figurative language, symbols, imagery, and tone. I'll give you 5 minutes to think, and please, all of you, be prepared because I will ask all of you. Okay?
Okay.
About what? Just repeat.
Go and
please.
fish, girls. You will fish for 4 things: symbol, imagery, figurative language, tone. You can tell me any one of these when I ask you. I'll give you 5 minutes, okay? I'll turn off my camera and give you 5 minutes. Are you ready? Did you fish?
Miss, I found only symbolism.
Symbolism, Huda or Maya talk? Maya. Tell me one of the symbolism, Maya.
Miss, I found the birds' clothing.
Birds?
Yes, or clothing.
Which line, dear? Tell me the line and where is it?
Yes, Miss. When Joe tries to speak to the wild.
Tell me the line, dear.
Wait.
Miss, when we say green as poison, it's a metaphor, right? Like it means that the curtains are like
as
a
is
simile?
simile.
Ah,
Because
yes,
there
as.
like it's a simile. Thank you, Huda. So Huda said one now. Whereas in metaphor, figurative language, she said simile and green as poison. Thank you, Huda.
Miss, I can't find the lines.
Okay, search Maya. Nancy, Nirvana, are you here? Malika?
Yes, miss.
Sarah, هلا Sarah?
Miss, I have one maybe.
Yes, ma'am.
Sarah, give me anyone, girl, dear, simple, figurative language, anyone.
Miss, I can't understand, miss, from the first read or second read or third read.
From the first read, it is the excerpt. We reread it, which is called second read. Second read is to reread the excerpt itself. Read the excerpt, find me any of these, please. Ragad? Ragad? رغد نور نانسي رغد نور نانسي
Miss Nada? Miss Nada?
سارة.
Miss, I can't understand, miss, from the first read or second read.
ما Sarah, I answered you, dear. I said to you from the first read, from the excerpt.
First read,
second
okay.
read means to reread the first read. نور نانسي مريم شغدلي.
Yes.
Who says yes?
I'm talking.
Noor?
Yes.
So raise your voice, Noor. I can't hear you.
I'm talking.
Are you good, Noor? Are you well?
What?
Are you doing well?
A little bit. I'm a little sick.
Noor, are you sick?
Yes.
Nancy? Malika?
I'm here.
Yes, Nancy, please answer.
Yes.
Answer me any imagery, Nancy, or
طب wait شوي بس 1 minute miss.
Lujain, Linda.
Miss, I'm still searching. I can't find.
Lujain, okay, Linda. Lujain, you found anything?
I found a comparison. It could be simile, I think.
Okay.
Page 251, line 50, where the table linen was at least as white as the sheets they dried on juniper bushes,
Yes.
where the napkins were folded with a crease as stiff as the ones they ironed for Sunday dinner.
Great, dear. These are metaphors or similes?
I think similes.
Similes, excellent, dear. No one found symbolism? No symbolism? No symbol? لين مطر لين الحاج.
Yes, teacher. I still didn't find.
ليال جودي.
I'm searching.
جودي. لجين. مليكة. ملك الحاج.
Miss, I know that there is a symbolism, but I can't find the lines, the birds.
The birds symbolize what?
Yes.
Freedom, flying and freedom?
Yeah, and when they, we know why they sing, that's why.
Okay, there is no other symbolism? Girls, Leah's not here.
Miss, in the beginning they said that they met under a walnut tree. Could that be symbolism?
Teacher, you just called me?
Yes. ليه؟ رغد, yes, I called you many times يا رغد.
I'm sorry بس teacher لأنه كان الكونكشن مش كويس وفي
يا
إزعاج.
رغد, are you with us يا رغد? يعني you are following us?
Yes, أكيد I'm following you.
So can you get me a symbolism, a simile, a metaphor, a tool, anything?
What? Sorry again?
Can you get me an imagery of the excerpt?
Imagery?
Imagery.
Imagery.
What is imagery?
Miss, I guess she means eagle.
Where is it?
Yes, eagle. I mean eagle.
Where is the eagle, dear?
Yes, I have a metaphor.
Who says I have? So no one, Dima, Linda, Judy, Aya, no one? Nancy?
Yeah, I want to answer.
Who wants to answer? Judy, yes, please raise your voice and answer, dear. You found what?
In the second paragraph, when the train trembled approaching the water.
Represents freedom?
When the train trembled approaching the water surrounding the city, they thought it was like them, nervous at having gotten there at last, but terrified of what was on the other side. They related the city to them.
Related the city to them. So it is symbolism?
Yes.
Before I will ask discussion questions, maybe it gets you.
Yes, رغد قطع
I
عند
think that you will get it as a, يعني as easy as a.
Miss.
Yes.
رغد's connection cut off يعني ما بعرف.
Okay. Before we move on, let's sorry, not this one. Let's share this.
Miss, there's also a lot of personification throughout the passage.
Yes. So before we move on, let's discuss this. The first question. Why did the trains trembling in line 11 make Violet and Joe think it was like them? Why did the trains trembling make Violet and Joe think it was like them? Linda?
Yes.
Train trembling? How is it related to Violet and Joe?
Maybe because trembling and it represents Violet and Joe's being nervous.
Excellent. Read it.
They felt nervous and scared about the future, and the train's trembling made them think of the nervous shaking.
Excellent. Question number 2. Judy?
Why has Morrison have described the dining curtain's color as green as poison?
The curtain resembles what, dear?
Miss, can you remind me the curtain was where?
What?
Where was the curtain?
The curtain was in the train to separate the blacks from the whites.
Oh, yes. The poison is basically the discrimination, I believe. Yes. He's basically saying it was green, the discrimination was poison. The current was used to separate the races, black and white. Morrison is suggesting that the effect of such racism was poisonous.
Yes. So, when I ask you to get a symbol, what can be a symbol here?
The green curtain.
The green curtain resembles what?
Discrimination and racism. which is poison.
The discrimination. Excellent. Okay. Then, are you with me, girls?
Yes.
Sarah, read it, Sarah.
Okay, miss. Use the graphic organizer on the page 256 to record the examples of symbolism, imagery, figurative language, and tone you circled in the excerpt. Leave the middle theme circle blank until you have filled in the outer circles. Once you have filled in 2 to 3 examples of each aspect in the web, use them to determine the theme of the piece. Theme is the central message of a literary work and can be expressed as a statement about life or human nature.
So the theme is the message of the story, of the central message of a literary work, and can be expressed as a statement about life or human nature. So here, answer to the theme web, the symbol. Did you get any symbol, girls? Any symbol?
Miss, as we said, the one for the eagle, that it represents freedom.
Away of the eagle, huh?
Miss, can we say jazz?
The jazz
represents freedom.
Excellent, excellent dear. So the eagle represents freedom. Jazz represents freedom also. The curtain symbolizes what? The curtain. Green curtain.
Racism.
Yes. So ملك الحاج read يا ملك.
Yes, miss. From the PowerPoint. The city, the green, auspicious curtain, the tree.
Yes, so girls, on page 255, do you see what is written? 255.
Yes, miss.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Malak, read ya Malak for me the symbol. Read the definition of the symbol.
An object, action, or person used to represent itself as well as something else.
Yes, so example, but not in the excerpt. An eagle is a type of bird that also represents freedom. Like when I say for you, the dove represents peace. Flower represents love. In the excerpt, city represents new life. Green curtain represents discrimination. Train represent the trip towards the new life. Imagery. Thank you, Malika. Malika?
Yes, miss.
Read from the book, dear. Imagery. Imagery is what?
Words and phrases that create mental pictures and appeal to the senses.
Yes, like what?
From Martin Luther King, I have a dream speech. With this phase, we will be able to transform from the jangling discord of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood, appeal to the sense of hearing.
Yes, so here an imagery is to use the one of 5 senses is description. I want an imagery, a sentence that has used one of the 5 senses in imagery.
As they were dancing and happy.
Yes,
using
the auditory imagery or visual imagery, what you see or what you hear. You did, dear?
Yes, teacher. They were in the city dancing, happy, singing.
Yes, so read the imagery here on the slideshow.
Train ride smoother than a rocking cradle, table linen, white as sheet dyed on juniper
Who said
bushes.
this? Someone said to me the image, this, and we said it is like as and as, so it is figurative language. Judy?
No, I said it, Miss Lujain.
Lujain, yes, Lujain said it. It's figurative language because there was as, and it's also in the same time it's imagery. Continue, Malika.
Crease as stiff as the one they ironed from Sunday dinners.
Yes. Figurative language. Read يا لوجين.
Figurative language, train shivered, dancing under their feet, server laced dignity with a smile.
Yes. So, what is the figurative language in your book? What is the definition on page 255 here, Lojane?
Figurative language are words or phrases that use figures of speech rather than literal meaning. Examples include metaphors, simile, alliteration, personification.
Yes, the examples.
Personification is the technique of representing a non-human thing as if it were human. For example, opportunity knocked on the door. Opportunity is performing the action of a human.
Yes, personification is to give a human trait to objects. Or a metaphor is to compare two unlike things without using as or like. Simile is to compare two unlike things with using as or like. Hyperbole is exaggeration. Now we reach to the last point, which is tone. The tone in your book on page 255. The tone, Nancy, the tone is what here? Written for you, the tone is what? Definition and example in your book on page 255. Nancy? Noor? Tia?
Yes, ma'am.
Lين Matar?
Yes.
Tonya Lين? In
Can
your
you
book
hear me?
255? Anyone of grade 11, any one of the 35
Noor.
girls.
But
Miss,
Yes, teacher.
perspective
Can you
as
hear me?
Read Yaleen, on your book 255, the tone.
Teacher, I don't have the book.
Miss, I have it. If you want, I can read it.
Read Yehuda.
Okay. Tone, the perspective or attitude the author takes towards
Wait a
its
minute,
subject.
Yehuda. Lين, you don't have the book because you haven't bought it since the beginning of the year?
Yes, teacher.
How do you study, dear?
Teacher, I بصور يعني my friends بيصوروا له I copy it.
Oh, okay. Continue. What?
Okay,
Miss,
tone,
can
the
you hear me?
perspective. Noor,
Yes, Huda?
Miss Noor is talking or something.
Yes, Noor.
Miss, can you hear me? I
Yes,
was
but
talking from the first, but you didn't hear me.
yes, dear. Yes. Your mic is not working, dear. I couldn't hear you. Continue, Huda.
Okay. Tone is the perspective or attitude the author takes toward its subject. Some examples of tone are cynical, humorous, disillusioned, cheerful, sarcastic, and sentimental. For example, the old couple sat in companionable silence. The
So,
woman,
yes.
complete reading?
Yes.
Okay, the woman's thoughts roamed from her own youth to the daily dramas of her grandchildren as the knitting needles in her hands clicked in busy industry. The man stared at the half-finished jigsaw, something puzzle, in front
Yes.
of him, but his mind was back in the days of his own childhood, remembering
So,
how his mother and
okay, we
he
stop
used
here.
to work on
Yes.
puzzle. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, Miss.
It is okay,
The
dear.
capital
Switch the
breaks
page.
till
Turn the
start,
page
so I
to
can't talk.
256, Huda. All of you girls, 256, please. Open 256.
Okay.
Do you see the web?
Yes.
In the middle is the theme. All of you, grade 11. In the middle of the theme. How can the author accomplish the theme through a tone, symbol, imagery, figurative language? So please write in the tone, write determined, excited, and hopeful. The author was determined, excited, and hopeful. How did you know? because this is the way she wrote about the trip from the country to the city for them to establish a new life. Determined, excited, and hopeful. Figurative language, train shivered, dancing under their feet, lays dignity with a smile. The imagery, train rides, smoother than a rocking cradle, table linen, white as cheese. The symbols, the city, green as poison, curtain, the train. What is the theme of a city, of a train, of a curtain, of being determined, excited, and hopeful? What is the theme?
Living.
Hmm?
Living life in freedom.
Excellent. People want to have freedom, to have the new life. Okay? People strive for new lives. What else? What makes them happy? What makes them excited?
That they are treated like all other people.
What makes them happy and excited?
Equality. They are treated like other people.
Equality, the dream of equality. The dream of being equal. The dream of being equal.
And new beginnings.
Excellent. New beginning. Hopeful. So read Yelujine.
Based on the insights you gained through analyzing the author's use of symbolism, imagery, figurative language, and the author's tone, you can craft a sentence that states a theme of the literary work. Theme: people strive for a better future, opportunity beckons people, hope makes people happy.
So this is the theme. How did she accomplish the theme? By telling you about people who dances or people who dance on the train for their trip from the country to the city. So now you understand, yes, people are happy, they dance, and they are happy when they have a travel from a bad future, a bad past to a new future. So when people have hope, they feel happy. How they feeling when they are on the train, they strive for a better future. So this is the theme, how she explains the theme through these ways, through the tone, through the figurative language, through the imagery, through the symbols. So when you understand, when you read the story, you fish, as the video I showed you, fish down under the surface to see and to catch the imagery, to catch the symbolism in order to understand more what is the theme. You understand?
Yes.
The homework is to write a paragraph in which you state the theme of jazz. Support this statement with evidence from the SIFT exercise you complete above from here. What is SIFT? Symbol, imagery, figurative language, tone. So you write the theme from the excerpt of jazz is what, this. One symbol that supports is what. One example of imagery is that. The tone is what. The tone supports the theme by what. You write and wait a minute, guys. Sorry, girls, I had to stop the mobile. So from the symbol, from the imagery, from the tone, from the figurative language, I had to get the theme out of these and write a paragraph. And I write the theme of the excerpt is that. And it was accomplished by, and I list how it was accomplished in a shape of paragraph. I will create the online assignment and please answer it. Your homework is graded, girls.
Okay.
Okay, I know that you are now starting to study for the set, and those girls who are absent maybe for the studying or anything, but don't forget the project, girls. I only have 2 girls who gave me the project, Maya and Dima. Okay?
Miss, the Powtoon project?
What, dear?